When we're headed downtown to see all the exciting new things that are happening in downtown Peoria, like the new museum and the Caterpillar Visiting Center, there's going to be something else new too. Kind of an evolution in parking meters. Pay and display, it's called. And to hear about those new meters, which are really interesting, here from the city to tell us about it is Nick Stoffer. Nick, how many of these new meters are out, and tell us about them?
Currently, we have 4 of the new pay and display meters around the museum block. We have 1 on Main Street, 1 on Liberty, and 2 on Water Street around the museum. We're looking at putting another 7 or 8 in parking lots across the street. These parking meters, we're doing a 6-month trial period to see how people like them.
Well, what's so different about these meters than any other parking meter that we feed our quarters into?
The traditional meter that you've seen downtown for so many years is a per spot parking meter, which would accept only coins. So you would pull up to a parking spot and go out in front of your car and put a coin or however many coins in your parking meter. These meters, they are not per space. They would be an area parking meter. So you may have to walk a little bit to get to the parking meter. You'd pay, and then you would take out the receipt that it gives you and put that back in your car so the parking enforcement officials can see it.
So you mean that meter covers more than one space?
Correct. It could cover maybe 10 to 20 depending on the type of parking, whether it's perpendicular or diagonal or head-in parking.
Well, how interesting.
We only want you to have to walk a certain amount of distance. After so much walking, people get upset by the amount of walking, so you have to put another meter. So you kind of limit these per how many spaces they would have to walk.
Now, when you say pay and display, and you've already mentioned putting quarters in.
Correct.
But is there another new aspect to these meters?
We do have a new aspect. We're accepting credit card payment in these meters as well. So when you go up to the parking meter, you would press it because they fall asleep to save battery. They're solar powered machines. So you'd press it and wake it up. It'll flash a little picture of the city of Peoria, and then it'll give you the questions whether you want to purchase a ticket or extend your time. And once you make that decision, then you would either put in coins, a quarter for every 15 minutes, or you put your credit card and then scroll through the arrows to get to the proper amount of time that you want to pay for.
Now, you said credit card. How about a debit card?
They should take debit cards as well.
Okay. Now, Visa, I'm sure, is going to be accepted. Once in a while, I've got an American Express. They don't want my American Express. Will all credit and debit cards be pretty much accepted?
We have it set up to accept Visa, American Express, Discover, and MasterCard. So yes, we're taking pretty much everything.
So you mean I don't have to keep all that change anymore in my console in my van?
Absolutely not.
That is wonderful. All right. Well, let's take it step by step.
Okay.
All right. I've rolled up to a parking spot in the downtown with the family. Mm-hmm. I get out and I'm walking over to the meter. Okay, what would be the step-by-step process to use the pay and display meter?
Okay, well, once again, you would press any button to wake the machine up.
Okay.
And once it asks you a question, and it'll ask you whether you want to purchase a ticket or extend your time.
Now, is that question asked by voice or is it on a display screen?
It's on a display screen. There's
okay.
3x3.
Because sometimes these things talk to me.
They do not talk to you.
All right.
This one doesn't. Right. So you would tell it whether you wanted to buy a ticket or not. And so once you've told it that, then you would either pay by coin or pay by credit card. Stick your credit card in, and then it will ask you how much time you want to put in. And you can either put in, you can scroll up for the amount of hours or half an hour you want. You can do them at 15-minute increments, and you go up to as much as you want, and then you would hit OK or enter, and it'll spit out a receipt. And the receipt will be a 2-part receipt. It'll have a big part with a time on it. That'll be your expiration time, and you could and that's what you walk over to your car and put on your dash, because that's what the enforcement officials would see. And then the other part of the ticket you can take, rip off the bottom, and that would actually be a reminder to you as to when the parking permit would expire.
Okay.
And it also has a little code on it. So if you want to extend your time, You can go back to the machine, push in the code if you decide you're at the museum or wherever, and you paid for 3 hours and you think, well, you're 2 hours into it and you want to pay another 2 hours, then you go out and you can extend your time, but you would get another receipt. You have to put that on your card too.
Well, this is sounding better all the time. So it used to be we got in trouble if we did what was called feed the meter. But in this case, you say it's okay to feed the meter.
We're accepting you to extend time on these meters, yes.
Right. So if we take the whole family to a show downtown, we decide to eat downtown as well, which is a good idea, then we can just go to the meter and put some more in, as long if we keep our receipt and we can enter our code.
Correct. Or you can get another ticket if you've expired. But
you could just do the whole routine over again.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Either way will function. Now, what about the hours for the meters?
Well, that's a good question. The hours are actually ours. We've placed stickers on the machines themselves, but the hours are going to be 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. That's when we're enforcing the meters. Any other time of day, weekends after 6, it's free parking.
It's free, and then not on the weekends
Not
at all?
on the weekends.
Okay. If people, although you explained this very well, would still have questions again about this process, is there a place where they can go to get information?
They could go to the City of Peoria website, or they could call Public Works, 494-8800. That's our number.
And you'll have the answers. In fact, Nick might answer himself with the information.
It's possible I would call you back.
That could happen. This sounds like a great idea, and although you're telling us this is just a sampling of the meters, and they might be expanded, they might not to. Would you like people to let you know if they like them?
We would like some feedback.
Some input.
Correct. Feedback would be, feedback is important for the process, so we know whether people are understanding, or they're accepting, or actually liking the convenience of the credit card in these machines. We're going to do a 6-month trial and kind of evaluate whether we want to expand this or do something different. And there's other technology we can look into, but this is a first step in finding new ways to regulate parking on street downtown.
Well, I'm liking it, and I haven't even put any quarters in yet or used my American Express card. Well, thank you, Nick, very much for telling us about this new item in our downtown. Come back and tell us more after you've had the trial period. We'll be interested in hearing about it.
Thank you.
And that's how it is with the new pay and display parking meters in downtown Peoria.